They say reality is what you see with your eyes. But what if your eyes are lying to you? What if perception isn't a passive act, but a creative one, where what you see is shaped not just by your senses, but by your expectations, fears, and longings? Picture this. You're walking through a city street at dusk. Neon lights flicker on. People pass by, heads down, lost in thought, or chasing their next distraction. Everything looks familiar, until, for the briefest moment, it doesn't. There's a flicker, a sense that something is wrong. Like a word that sounds strange when said too many times, reality itself suddenly feels off, not broken, just unreal. This isn't paranoia or a trick of the mind. It's something subtler, a signal that you've brushed against the edge of the deeper structure behind appearances, a structure that's been hiding in plain sight. This is no glitch in the matrix. It's the first whisper of an ancient truth, hidden in plain sight. What you experience as life is not the world itself, but a carefully filtered projection of your own inner state. And that projection, it's not random, it's diagnostic. Like a mirror, reality reflects not only what you are, but what you're becoming, or resisting becoming. Here's the strange part. This isn't just spiritual poetry. It's a blueprint buried in the oldest teachings of Kabbalah, a centuries-old system that doesn't ask for belief, but offers a roadmap to directly test the fabric of reality. And the deeper you go, the clearer it becomes. Our universe isn't built from atoms, it's built from desire. Let's break that open. At the core of everything you've ever known, your struggles, your joys, even your most mundane habits, there lies a single cosmic mechanism, the tension between the will to receive and the will to give. These aren't just personality traits. They are the dual forces that define all of existence. Think of them not just as opposites, but as polarities in a creative engine. When they're balanced, something entirely new can emerge. Consciousness, choice, and ultimately, transformation. Kabbalists describe reality as emerging from a single infinite force, the creator, not a figure with a beard, but a boundless force of giving. Imagine it like the sun, endless, radiant, and always pouring out light. But light by itself needs something to shine on. Out of this force emerged a counterpart, a vessel, the will to receive that light. Here's the twist. In its original form, this vessel was perfect. It had everything. Unlimited pleasure, infinite fulfillment, total unity. But just like a person who's given everything and starts to ask, what did I do to deserve this? The vessel began to feel, and what it felt was shame. Not in the moral sense, but the realization that while it was receiving everything, it was doing nothing in return. This shame wasn't about guilt. It was the awakening of individuality, self-awareness. In that moment, the vessel didn't just want to receive, it wanted to become like the giver, to not just be full, but to be meaningful. This realization shattered everything, literally. The vessel broke into countless pieces, fragments like you and me, each carrying within it the same paradox, a hunger for fulfillment, paired with a deep desire to become more than just a taker. And thus began the strange journey of human existence. Not as biological accidents, but as sparks of that original vessel walking through life half asleep, half aware, constantly yearning for something we can't quite name. And here's the deeper truth. That yearning is not a flaw, it's the map. Every desire we feel, no matter how distorted, carries a fragment of the original intention, to return, to reconnect, to become whole by becoming like the source. The world you see is a reflection of your inner spiritual state, and your desire defines what reality shows you. Think of it like a radio. If you're tuned to the wrong frequency, you'll hear only static. But reality, according to Kabbalah, is filled with hidden frequencies, broadcasting constantly from the Creator. Our ego, our selfishness, our endless taking, it's like thick static drowning out the signal. But the moment we begin to shift, even slightly toward giving, toward seeing others as extensions of ourselves, the frequency changes, the noise clears, and a deeper, truer world begins to reveal itself. This shift doesn't require dramatic rituals or perfect behavior. It begins in the smallest moments, a genuine intention, a pause before reacting, a silent recognition of another's humanity. These micro-adjustments fine-tune your internal antenna. It's not metaphor, it's perception. That moment when you sense there must be more, even if your life looks fine on the outside. That's what Kabbalists call the point in the heart, the ember of memory from a time when you were whole before the vessel broke. It's the beginning of the return, not to heaven or paradise in the clouds, but to a state of inner transformation, one where your desires aren't just for taking, but for giving, connecting, creating harmony with others. And it's in that shift, that transformation of desire, that reality itself starts to reorganize. Not because the outside world changes, but because you do. And as you change, the illusion lifts. What once seemed mundane starts to shimmer with unseen depth. Challenges become tailored lessons. Even pain becomes purposeful, not as punishment, but as guidance. You begin to see it in everything. In the levels of existence Kabbalah lays out, from inanimate stone to vegetative life, to animals, and finally to humans, not just as biology, but as a map of evolving desire. Each level holds more complexity, more capacity to feel, to question, to connect. And humans? We're not the end of the ladder. We're the beginning of a choice. We are the only creatures aware of our own narrative and capable of rewriting it. That awareness is not just a gift, it's a responsibility. Because we are the only level with the ability to override nature, to look at our impulses and decide not just what we want, but why, to reflect, to give. And here's where it gets wild. Kabbalistic texts describe a reality where all souls are interconnected, not as an idea, but as a structure, like organs in a single body. When one part suffers, all parts do. And when one part starts to heal, to transform its desires, it sends a ripple through the whole. This isn't poetic metaphor, it's structural truth. Imagine humanity as a neural network, each soul a node, each intention a signal. When enough nodes align with giving, the entire system lights up, revealing layers of coherence that were invisible before. So the odd encounter you had with a stranger last week, not random. The frustration you feel in traffic, the ache of loneliness, the joy of helping someone without expecting anything back, all of it is woven into this unseen web. Every interaction is part of a grand, cosmic experiment in which you are both the subject and the scientist. Each moment of friction, each burst of compassion is a data point in your soul's research. Reality isn't just happening to you, it's collaborating with you, adjusting in real time to your evolving inner state. And Kabbalah? It's not just a belief system, it's the lab manual. This is the science of the soul. What Kabbalists discovered is that spiritual reality operates by laws, just as real as gravity or motion. They can be tested, repeated, verified. They offer a method to gradually build a new sense beyond the five we know, a spiritual sense capable of perceiving the infinite, not as fantasy, but as tangible as breath. This spiritual sense is like an unused muscle. The more you engage it, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, it doesn't just add to your experience. It redefines what experience even means. And the goal isn't to escape the world, but to see it as it really is. A perfect system of guidance, revealing exactly what each soul needs at every moment to transform itself from a receiver to a giver, from ego to essence. So when you next walk through your life, the subway, the grocery store, the awkward family dinner, beneath the noise, the chaos, the small frustrations, something is shining through. Not from outside, from within. From that hidden spark you've always carried. From the original vessel trying still to remember what it was like to be whole. To give like the light. To see with the eyes of the infinite. And not just to wake up, but to awaken the world with you. Because awakening is contagious. Every time one person shifts from self-absorption to self-awareness, from taking to giving, it doesn't end there. It ripples outward, subtly affecting everyone they touch. Families shift, communities shift, eventually humanity shifts. This is the hidden architecture of transformation, not driven by force or ideology, but by resonance. One corrected desire tunes others, one spark rekindles many. And here's the paradox. The more you align with this deeper structure, the more ordinary life begins to glow with extraordinary meaning. The coffee with a friend, the stranger you smiled at, the silence you chose instead of judgment. These are not small moments. They're spiritual architecture. They're how the soul builds its wings. You begin to understand that the purpose of suffering isn't punishment, it's precision. Every obstacle is a tailor-made mirror, crafted not to break you, but to show you something vital that comfort could not. In this view, spiritual growth isn't about transcending reality, it's about decoding it. Each situation, no matter how mundane or painful, becomes a line of sacred text waiting to be read with new eyes. So yes, Kabbalah offers tools, but more than that, it offers a challenge. To live as if every moment matters, to act as if every soul counts, to see the world not as a backdrop, but as an invitation. Because once you awaken to the structure beneath the chaos, you realize nothing is random. Every delay, every heartbreak, every sudden joy, they're coordinates, messages, hints from the system nudging you toward your next step. And when you walk through life that way, with eyes that see the hidden order and a heart that seeks not just to receive, but to give, you don't just change your world. You participate in rebuilding the vessel together. And this rebuilding isn't metaphorical, it's mechanical, systemic. Every intentional act of giving realigns a fragment of the shattered whole. Every time you choose to rise above your nature, even slightly, you're stitching threads back into the great tapestry of unity. This is why nothing is wasted. Not the heartbreak, not the confusion, not even the mistakes. In fact, Kabbalah teaches that our flaws and failures aren't detours, they're the path. The ego, often demonized in spiritual language, is not an enemy to destroy, but a raw force to refine. It is resistance that makes transformation meaningful. That's the hidden genius of the system. It doesn't demand perfection. It asks for direction, to want more, to want higher. This is the shift from reacting to reality to relating to it, from asking, why is this happening to me, to what is this moment asking of me? It's a spiritual adulthood where you stop blaming the mirror and start learning from the reflection, where you realize that awakening isn't a bolt of lightning. It's a practice, a discipline of perception. Like learning a new language or tuning an instrument, this inner work sharpens over time, and eventually the world begins to sound different, less chaotic, more coherent, less fragmented, more whole. The chaos hasn't vanished. You've simply stopped mistaking it for randomness, because now you see it, and more importantly, you see through it. You've remembered who you are, not just a receiver of life, but a participant in its repair, a carrier of ancient intention, a builder of inner worlds whose structure shapes the outer one. And that changes everything. Because once you start to see reality as a living dialogue, a mirror, a message, a map, you stop feeling like a victim of circumstance. You start walking through life like a decoder, an interpreter of meaning, not a passive observer, but an active participant in a grand unfolding. One in which your inner work doesn't remove you from the world. It weaves you into it more truthfully, more consciously, more powerfully. And suddenly, nothing is ordinary. Not the way light spills through a window, not the silence in a difficult conversation, not the ache you carry without words. Even your confusion becomes sacred because you know it's not the end. It's the threshold. This is the wisdom of Kabbalah. Not escape, but engagement. Not belief, but direct experience. Not dogma, but design. It offers no shortcuts, only a path. But the path leads inward, and from there, outward again. Because the end of this journey is not isolation or transcendence. It's reintegration, to live fully in this world, with your eyes open, your heart aligned, and your desires transformed. To remember, you are a vessel. You are a spark of the infinite disguised as a seeker. And the light you've been searching for, it's not ahead of you. It's within you, waiting to be revealed by the very act of searching. So walk forward, not perfectly, but honestly, with wonder, with courage, with the knowledge that every step, no matter how small, redraws the structure of the world, because reality is not fixed. It's responding to you, always has been. This is the secret. The world doesn't just reflect your inner state, it evolves alongside it. As you shift, the world shifts. Every desire that is redirected toward connection, love, and growth accelerates the process of healing for yourself and for those around you. In this way, your personal journey becomes a collective one. Your transformation is not just your own. It ripples outward, reverberating through the fabric of the world like a vibration. The more you awaken, the more others will. Not because of what you say, but because of what you do. Because of how you love, how you give, and how you choose to see the world. And when you see this, really see it, you realize that the entire purpose of life is not to conquer it, but to dance with it, to move in rhythm with the flow of creation, guided by the light within and expressed through your every action, intention, and interaction. Because we are not here to escape reality, we are here to deepen our relationship with it, to live fully within it but never be trapped by its illusions, to shape it with the desires of our heart, transforming ourselves from mere receivers to active givers. And in doing so, we return to the original state of the vessel, whole, perfect, and infinite in our capacity to give. So the journey doesn't end in some far-off paradise. It ends here, in this moment, in the very act of returning to our true essence. And the real miracle? We don't just remember who we are, we begin to live it. So look around, not with ordinary eyes, but with the eyes of the infinite. See the world as a reflection of your soul, and understand that every step you take is an act of creation. You are the vessel, you are the light, and together, we are the change. This is the final revelation. The journey is never really over. It only deepens, expands, and evolves as you continue to awaken. not just to who you are, but to who you are becoming.